everybody, it's Julie, Kansas City girl sorry, I just shook you guys, I think, with my foot. Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, and I'm here with a special edition Flosstube. I've been meaning to film this for way too long. I want to show off my sampler stash and my few sampler whips. So I have a lot of samplers in my stash, and I honestly don't have as many whips as I think I would expect. I'm drawn to samplers. I love samplers, but for some reason I haven't actually stitched many samplers. So, but I have some stash. I have some options, and I've been on a kick lately with samplers where like I want all the Hands Across the Sea samplers. I want them all. I've been buying a lot of samplers, but samplers tend to be bigger projects, and so I think that might be why I don't have a lot of them started. It's kind of an undertaking. A lot of them call for like more expensive flosses and bigger pieces of linen, and they're just, you know, they're kind of an undertaking. But interestingly enough, I do feel like samplers can be actually, you know, a little quicker to stitch because they have so many motifs that jump around and they're not full coverage like a Haid. So anyway, what is a sampler, you might be asking? I know most of you know what a sampler is, but there may be a few of you out there that are like, you know, hey, what really makes something a sampler versus just a cross stitch chart or a pattern? I am by no means an expert on samplers. If you want to learn more about cross stitch samplers, I highly suggest a few that you go check out a few other Flosstubers, namely Teresa Vignette, who is Kitten Stitcher on Flosstube. Her videos are absolutely amazing because it's almost like you get a little class about needlework with almost every one of her videos. She knows a lot about samplers, about reproduction. She's a designer herself. She's charted several samplers, like done her own, you know, what would you call that? Like she does the reproduction sampler charting. She also does original samplers that have that that look like they could have been I don't think I phrased that right. She designs her own samplers that look like they could have been an original from like a previous century. And she's had several videos where she talks about samplers. She talks about the origins and what to look for if you're trying to buy one. And if you want to know more about samplers, I feel like almost every single one of her Flosstubes will feature something about a sampler. So definitely go check her out. Another one to check out is Nicola Parkman, who is the designer behind Hands Across the Sea. And she has a Flosstube as well. And she also is just a wealth of knowledge. And I love her charts. And we'll talk more about those later when I show some. And then lastly, I would encourage you to go check out Carol, who is Saltbox Stitcher on YouTube. Now, she doesn't always go into the information behind the sampler, but if you just want to see some stitch samplers, go check her out, because that's pretty much all she stitches. She's here and there will show like a small that's not a sampler, but primarily she stitches samplers, and she's a fast stitcher. She's a prolific stitcher. Her walls behind her are just covered with gorgeous framed samplers, and she's always got whips that she is working on samplers, and I love her videos as well because she shows so much. It's awesome. So I'm by no means going to get into heritage and like give a class about samplers, because I don't know enough to do that. I would love to take a class like that. I would love to take like a lecture, like a 4-hour lecture about needlework samplers. But in general, what a sampler is, it's a very broad definition. I looked this up on Wikipedia, okay, so I'm not just pulling this out of nowhere. It is a specimen of achievement. And what that means is it's something you can show and be like, look what I did, or look what I know how to do. So primarily it was used by schoolgirls or young ladies to learn their ABCs, to learn stitching that would be needed in the household, like how to repair things and how to like stitch decorative stitches and like utility stitches. And it was a way they learned, especially if they didn't have pen and paper as handy. So it was usually like a schoolgirl thing, and that's why a lot of these samplers are stitched by girls who are like age 9, 10, 11, 12, which just sounds absolutely crazy to us now, but they were doing it in the 1800s and 1700s and beyond. So it usually contains an alphabet. It usually contains little motifs like birds or flowers or even people. And it usually has a decorative border, usually like a very pretty like floral repeating border. But that doesn't, a sampler doesn't have to have those things. That's just kind of like, when you say to me sampler, that's where my mind goes. Like a beautiful floral border, an ABC across the top, maybe like a tree here, something in the middle, maybe a verse in the middle. That's kind of what I think of as a traditional sampler. But I'm going to show you some examples of samplers, and it will vary from that traditional style to like totally off the wall. I went through all my stash and pulled out everything that either to me looked like a sampler, or maybe it had sampler in the title. Even if it didn't look like what I consider a traditional sampler, I was like, well, the designer says it's a sampler, so, And then there were a lot that, there were several things that I didn't even grab because I was like, it says sampler, but come on, that doesn't really look like a sampler. I'm not gonna include that. And I already had so much stuff to show that I was like, okay, like, whatever. So I pulled all this like 2 or 3 months ago, and I haven't looked at it since. So this is going to be fun for me as well as you, because I don't remember what's in here. And when I say what's in here, I mean what is in this missing bin here. Yeah. This bin, full. Whips, future starts, and things that are not kitted up or started, or maybe even things I'll never stitch, but they're in here. So let me start showing you some goodies. Maybe grab a pen and paper. I don't know, you might want to track some of this down. But one of the first things I wanted to show was this sampler by the Scarlet Letter, and it's an old chart, but I wanted to point out something like a tip that she had. So this first chart is the Lucy Maria Wiggin sampler, again by the Scarlet Letter. This chart, I know there's a date in here. I looked for it at some point. 1986. This chart is from 1986. The chart is hand drawn. I'm not going to show you everything. I'm going to actually show it to you upside down. But look, she like charted this with like pen. Like she didn't even have a computer program to chart this. So it's actually kind of hard to read, I'll be honest. Anyway, it's the Lucy Maria Wiggin sampler. Here's what it looks like. I was drawn to this because it's on, it looks like black fabric, but actually when you read the chart, it's like a dark forest green, I think is what it's supposed to be, but I would probably do it on black. And I just thought it looked really cool, like a chalkboard or something. So you can see, you know, it's got the border, it's got the alphabet, it's got the verse, it's got the house and the trees. So a nice traditional sampler. But what I wanted to point out was I thought this was very interesting. So she said, one trick we have learned and wish to pass on is not to work the entire outer border first. So I thought this was very interesting because some people, you know, start in the top left, some people start in the center, some people do the border first, some people do the border as they go. You know, there's no right or wrong way, but I think a lot of people will do the outer border first to make sure it matches up, and then they'll move on and start stitching inside. So they said, don't do that, and here's why. And they said, instead, you should work the entire top and left side borders only. So stitch from here and stitch down here instead of doing the whole thing. They said, do the top and left side only, then proceed with working the inner bits of the chart, the alphabet, numerals, etc. In the event you are off a few stitches, your right and lower borders can then be adjusted after all of the internal work is complete. So I just thought that was interesting. I mean, obviously you can do what you want and there's no right or wrong way, but I just thought that was interesting. They were like, don't do the whole border and try to make it match. You know, do the top and the side and then stitch away, and then like cheat the border if you need to. And they also had this nice like notes in here about like, don't worry if you're off a little bit, like that makes it unique and that makes it your own, and that's okay. So I thought that was very interesting. Okay, now these are in like no particular order at all, but what I do have at the front is more recent stashquisitions, and definitely like things I haven't started yet. Some I do have kitted up. And then the back is my whips, so I guess the whips will be last. So I have things falling out. Blackbird Designs, Merrily Merrily We Welcome Spring. This is a new release. I think it was released like in March or something. So easily available to anyone who wants it. Not going to be hard to find for anybody. And it is big. I think it's like 270. Yeah, 273 by 275. It's big. And I'm going to do this on a lighter fabric. I think this fabric is too dark and it really doesn't show off all the beautiful colors. They kind of get, in my opinion, they get lost in that fabric. So I'm going to do it on something lighter. Hands Across the Sea. I almost started this yesterday, but I started something else. But this is going to be a very near future start for me. It's fully kitted up. I'm ready to go. It's Jennifer Gilbert 1818. And it looks like this. And I'll zoom in so you can see how pretty it is. It actually calls for very few colors. I think it calls for like 10 silks, which is nice because some samplers call for like 80 colors. But what I wanted to say about the Hands Across the Sea samplers, yes, these charts are expensive. They usually run right around $30, but I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous. First of all, the chart, I will hold it way back. The charts are gorgeous. They're full color. They're big. They are multi pages. Like, she doesn't cram the whole sampler on 2 pages. You know, this is 16 pages. Where she really zooms in so you can see really well. She has really beautiful directions, like this part is a satin stitch and this part is this, and she has diagrams at the bottom showing you how to do the stitches on that page. And so she has very good directions. But also what I really enjoy is that you open the chart and you get several pages of history. So this is all just text about all the research she did on the sampler, about I mean, it's awesome. It's like this, even if she doesn't first she goes through like, you know, here's who stitched the sampler, blah blah blah, but then she's like, here's where it was stitched, and then she starts telling you like, here's what was going on in that area of England in this time period. You know, they were being they were in this war, they were doing this or they were doing that, there was the Industrial Revolution, whatever. I mean, she just goes and gives you like some background about like, here's what would have been important. I think this one is Cornwall. And so she's like, here's where Cornwall is, and here's what it looks like, and it's beautiful, and this is what was going on, and this is what they valued in that area. And it's just really, really researched and awesome. And I didn't even realize this until just now. There's also a big layout of the chart. So like you get, you know, this beautiful picture on the front, and then she also has like an even bigger picture of the chart inside. So yes, these are expensive charts, but they are very, very well done. I did want to say, this isn't like that big of a deal, but I bought the called for colors for this chart, which are Soie d'Alger. But I'm a little bummed because these, the purple and pink are not as bright as the chart. Like, look at, like, that is like hot pink. And this is not hot pink. And the purple is also not quite as crazy. I still think it's going to be really pretty. I still think it's going to be good. But I was a little sad when I bought the called for colors. And I was like, that's not that. That's not quite that hot pink. So, I mean, you know, I'm sure it's still going to be really pretty. Okay, just like I said, some of this is just random. This is GGR Sweet Adeline 1873. This is a red work sampler. Also an interesting style of sampler, right? You're getting basically just using one floss color, usually a silk. But that is really, it's simple, but it's really pretty. And I think it'll stitch quickly. I also have by Brenda Keys from the Sampler Company. This chart is called, I don't know, it doesn't say on the front. I think it's Hannah Wells. Yep, it's called Marking Sampler Hannah Wells. So again, another simple red work sampler. What else is in here? What are we gonna pull out? Blackwork Designs Sisters. This is a whole book with several charts, which is super fun. And they're all samplers, which is why I bought it. So the first one is A. Shields 1824, and this is the original. They don't have a model of the actual rechart. Like she did when she recharted it, she changed some things. But it's mostly gonna look like this, I think. And then there's her sister, H. Shields. Hence why this book is called Sisters. And then I think they were getting like a Halloween vibe from the colors. And so then the original samplers are, this one is called At First Cock's Crow, and this is definitely a Halloween thing. This is not a reproduction. This is an original. And then they randomly put a Christmas one in there, but I think that's kind of fun. This is called Peace and Plenty. And then the last chart is Witch No More. And this is why I bought the book. I actually want to stitch every single thing in this book, and I think I will. But this was my favorite, Witch No More. Isn't that pretty? So this doesn't have an alphabet in it. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't have that traditional sampler feel, but that's a sampler. Anything's a sampler if you're brave enough or proud enough. Because it's, what is it, a sampler? It's a specimen of achievement. So I achieved this thing, so it is a sampler. If I say it is, it's a sampler. Another Blackbird Design Sweet Land of Liberty. This has some samplers in it, and then it has some not samplers in it. So let's just show the samplers. That could be a sampler, but I'm gonna say it's not. Okay, this is a sampler. Salute to Abigail. I can't see what I'm showing you, sorry. Salute to Abigail. I love this one. It's so pretty. It only calls for 4 colors. They're silken colors, which can be pricey, but there's only 4 of them, so I think I'll probably end up doing it with the called for colors. Let me see if there's any other samplers in here. I think there might be one more. That's just a small. That's just a small. That's just a small. Oh, I lied. Okay, that's the only sampler in there. This one, super popular, super awesome and beautiful and wonderful. And I don't have any immediate plans to start this, but oh my God, it's so pretty. Someday. Hands Across the Sea, Eliza Bell Cox, 1832. It calls for 9,000 colors of Soie d'Alger, which I will not be buying. I'm going to do this in DMC because I don't have like $500 for those silks or whatever. This one's fun. I bought this online without knowing much about it. And I got the chart and it is way, way, way bigger than I thought. So I'm a little nervous about this one now. This is by Reflet de Soie. I don't think I said that right, but you know, close. It's a French company. And it's Anaïs Gervais. I don't think that's right. 1896. And it is so pretty, but it is 339 by 402. And so it's a big one. I just didn't realize it was that big. But here's the thing about this chart that makes me nervous. It makes me real nervous. You see this picture, right? I think this is the original. These colors are so bright and crazy and awesome, right? And then you open it and these colors are totally different. And this, I think, is not the original. This is the new one, right? Those colors are not the same. And it's not that they're not pretty, but they are not even close to this, right? Am I crazy? Like, those are like vibrant, hot colors. And these are just a little muted, a little darker. So I'm not sure. And this whole chart's in French, so I don't know what it says. I'm just not sure about that. I want these colors, and I don't think that's what's gonna come out when I pull these DMCs. So I might like grab my own DMCs as I go to make it match this instead of this, which is still very pretty. Not saying it's not, but I want this. That's why I bought this chart. This one I'm very excited to start someday. This is the Scarlet House 7 Sheep Sampler. I've got it fully kitted up. I've got fabric. I've got silks. Some called for, but mostly just from Stash. And I'm going to do it on this dark brown extrude design fabric. It's called, I believe it's called Birdcage. Yeah, it's called Birdcage. And it's real dark and pretty. And then with the silks, I just got either the called for or like something that was like in the vein of what's on the chart. I didn't like go crazy. Like if it calls for a pink, I found a pink. So I know it's really hard to see. It's kind of dark, this picture, but it's real pretty, I promise. And I think when I stitch it, even though I'm also doing it on a dark brown, I think in real life you'll be able to see it better. This is another one I had meant to start by now and I just haven't. This is by Needlework Press. This is Minerva Aleph 1886, and I have it fully kitted up and ready to go. And this one's quite small, which I think is great because I think that will stitch quickly. Let me see if I have the stitch count like immediately handy. 109 by 107. That's not big at all. So if I will just, you know, get to it, do that one quick. This one is a kit I bought from Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. This is Stacy Nash Primitives Gathering the Greens sampler, and again, not a good picture, I know. It's just kind of washed out. Like it's I don't know what happened. Her printer, like it's like they were running out of pigment or something. It's a kit, so it came with the called for linen and flosses. So here's, you know, what the colors are gonna be. I just love that little yellow house. This is another kit from Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. This is the Scarlet House American Farmhouse. I kind of debated for a minute if this was a sampler, and then I saw the alphabet here at the bottom, and I was like, yeah, that's a sampler. It's a kit, so called for charted colors. Jardin Privé. This is called Marquise. And again, I was like, is that a sampler? And then I was like, that's definitely a sampler. Look at all those Quaker motifs, and there's an alphabet up in there. Sampler. This is a Barbara Anna Designs Sisters sampler. It's Hannah Black and Betsy Black. And this is also like a small little design that'll stitch quick. This is a newer one. This is from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. This is, well, I guess it's not that new. I made that up. May 2015. For some reason I was thinking this just came out. This was in the recent issue. It's not. May 2015. It's God Bless Our Home by the Snowflower Diaries. There is not an alphabet in here, but I still think it's a sampler because look at the border, look at the motifs. Symmetry is also a thing that happens in samplers. That's a sampler. That's still available if you guys want. Anything that I say is from the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, you can get it. Go to their website. You can get on PDFs of every issue that they've ever had. So this is also from the May 2015 Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. This is by Manny Didonna, and it's a sampler reproduction. It's the Red Bank School sampler. Really small, will be a really quick stitch. I thought that peacock was really cool. Definitely one I want to do. That shouldn't take very long. This is from the winter issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. I don't know if I have the year. That's weird. It usually has the year. This just says winter issue number 4. So it must have been 2015 because that's when the magazine started. This is by Ship's Manor, and it's called Memories. And it's not like a classic sampler, but I think it's got a sampler feel. It's got a sampler feel to it. I don't want to clean all this up when I'm done. Got this pile going. Another Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. This is the 2016 summer issue. This is by Barbara Anna, and this is the Sadie Wood sampler. And I am head over heels in love with this sampler. I love the really young schoolgirls who who get like wabi sabi wonky. Like their letters aren't straight, or they don't they don't match, and you know, they can get a little like weird, and that's what this one does, and I love it. It's the Sadie Wood sampler. It's pretty big. It's 380 wide by 118 high, but like, see how she is, it's just, I love it, and I love that moth. It only calls for a few colors too. I love that one. I love that one. If you love it too, go get this summer 2016 PDF issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. This is from Just Cross Stitch, April 2017. This is the Susanna Rambo 1836 sampler. I don't know if I'll ever actually stitch this, but I had the magazine, so whatever. There's nothing wrong with it. I have 100 other ones I could stitch, and this one just isn't calling to me as much. This one is very pretty. This is Just Cross Stitch, April 2017. Is that the same? Oh, so this is the same issue. So this issue had 2 samplers. This is 1867 reproduction sampler. And I think it's quite lovely. And I like the colors. You and I and Friends have a lot of samplers, and their samplers are really nice. They have a lot of specialty stitches, and it can be hard to tell on the tiny little picture on the front. I didn't know they had all these kind of stitches until I saw Lori, Mischievous Stitches, had stitched one of these, and I was like, oh, it has all that in it. Okay. This one is Let Virtue Reside. And like I said, look how little this picture is. First of all, look how little this chart is. It's folded up in this little envelope with this little Polaroid on it. I have another one of those in here somewhere, if I remembered to grab it. This is Blackbird Designs Bountiful Harvest. This is still available, so not hard. I don't believe it's hard to find. I've seen it many places. Blackbird Designs, of course, does lots of samplers, and I love them. This is a spring 2019 issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. This is Teresa's Primitive Treasures, and it's called the Hair Sampler, and this is a very simple sampler. But cute, right? That's really cute. That's real cute. This one, oh, okay. So let me give you a little backstory. There was a magazine that was around in, I think it was like 2000, I want to say like 2005, 2006, something around there. It was around for like 5 years or so. I might be making that up, but anyway, it was called The Gift of Stitching magazine, and I believe it was only ever an e-magazine. I don't think it was ever in print. And a few years back, she started selling off PDFs of these magazine issues. She had an Etsy shop, and she had been selling them for a while, and then she was like, I'm closing the Etsy shop, so I'm like, fire sale all of these. I think they ended up like being like $2 a piece or something like that. So you could go get any of the back issues for like dirt cheap, and I bought a bajillion of them, but I didn't buy every single issue, but I bought like a lot of issues. The Gift of Stitching really like heavily featured samplers, so I have several samplers I'm going to show you that are from the Gift of Stitching magazine, which means they could be really hard to get a hold of. Some of them the designers have released now to where you can get them, and others have not. And I'm not like showing you these to like tease you and like, you know, torment you because like you won't be able to find it. You can still get a hold of these issues if you go, there was a CD of like every issue ever of the Gift of Stitching magazine, and I think you can find it like on, you know, eBay, Amazon, stuff like that. So like if you cannot get it from the designer and you just have to have it, you can buy that CD and you can access the chart that way. I don't know what they cost, I'll be honest. I don't know if people are like selling them for very reasonably chart prices, or if they're like, you know, trying to gouge people. I don't know. This chart is from issue number 48 of The Gift of Stitching, which was January 2010, issue number 48. This is Anna Cater 1779 sampler by Queenstown Sampler Designs. Ooh. And this is a really colorful, but still, you know, kind of simple, but really colorful. But I feel like a sampler like this you could stitch really fast, because there's no like ornate motifs. It's mostly just alphabet. And we all know that goes quick. Okay, so also from the Gift of Stitching magazine, this is issue number 44, September 2009. This is the Scottish Companion Sampler. It actually is 2 samplers, which is really cool. I like the verse on this. Let me see if I can read it. No, I made that up. I mean, the verse is good. I'm thinking of a different one. There's another one in here. This one says, redeem the misspent time that's past. Live each day as it were thy last. And of thy talents take great care. For the last day thyself prepare. I was thinking of a different one. But look at these peacocks. Those are pretty cool. This one's really cool. This is Gift of Stitching issue 53, June 2010. This is Dame Snow's Academy for Distinguished Girls, Nora Piper's Morning Sampler by Barbara Chatterton Luring. I think this was, this isn't a reproduction. I think it's an original design, but like heavily inspired by what their samplers would have looked like, I guess. It's really cool. And pretty simple too. Really cool. This was, I don't think I'll ever stitch this, but it was fun. Gift of Stitching issue number 4, May 2006. So there you go. This magazine came out in 2005, 2006. This is Elizabeth II Coronation Sampler. It's called Reproduction Coronation Sampler. It doesn't even say who it's by. Who designed this? It legit does not say. Here's what it looks like. Issue number 2, March 2006, Gift of Stitching magazine. This is Woodland Sampler. And it's pretty nice. And this is certainly not like a traditional sampler. It's a band sampler. Oh, look at those little skunks at the bottom. How cute. And this is isn't this a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote? Or did I make that up? I'm pretty sure it is. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. Okay, Gift of Stitching magazine, issue 48, January 2010. One thing this magazine also did was they would have big projects that they would release in parts. So this was released over 6 issues. So it is House in the Wood Mystery Sampler. So obviously you didn't know what it was going to look like until the very end. But here's the completed mystery sampler. A nice long skinny one. So you got to track down 6 issues if you want to stitch that one. So if you get the CD, you'll have it. Okay, jumping back into some regular patterns. This is Sally Ann Designs Singing Bird Sampler 2002, 2nd edition. I think I just thought that was pretty. So this was printed in 2002. No, I made that up. That does not say 2002. Ignore me. That says 4002. That must have been something else. I don't know. 1991 is the copyright. 1991. Look it. I love these old charts. Like, I love finding stuff like that. This is Scarlet House. I love Scarlet House, and she does fabulous samplers as well. This is A Sampler Grows by Scarlet House, and it's a nice, cute little one. Some little key scissor fobs, not key fobs, scissor fobs. This one is from an old magazine, and I think I don't know if I have if the name of the magazine is on here. Oh, The Cross Stitcher. The magazine was The Cross Stitcher, but it was in April 1994. The Cross Stitcher. It's the Scottish Sovereign Romance Sampler. This is from 1994, and it's a Mary Queen of Scots sampler, which is so cool. And that's what it looks like. This sampler, it's not going to show up, but this sampler has sequins on it. Like, are you kidding me right now? These are sequins. Like, big old sequins you attach. This is from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, the spring 2018 issue. This is Robin Lockuff. I have like every issue of this magazine, and I don't know if I remember seeing anything from her before. It's called the Hornshaw Sampler and Necklace. It's kind of a more simple sampler. This is also Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher. This is spring 2017. This is Harriet Murfin, her work, 1853. Oh, look at that. It's Robin Lockuff. But this time it says who she's affiliated with. It's Old Willow Stitchery. I have heard of that. That's what Robin's up to. That one's nice. It's kind of... at first it didn't catch my eye. I think the colors are a little muted. But I like these. This is an old magazine as well. This is... I don't think it's that. Oh, 1987. Oh, I don't have the name of the magazine, but it had to be like one of those cross stitch and country crafts, like one of those was that the only magazine in the 80s? It might have been. This is, I don't know what this is called. I have the chart. It doesn't actually, I don't think it has a title. This is what it looks like. I like it. I think it's really pretty. This is a freebie. This is a free chart, and it's awesome. I don't know why I haven't stitched it yet, I'll be honest. So the Little Stitcher, who has an Etsy store, on her blog, this is a freebie. It's the Jane Eyre sampler. Yep. I need to stitch that, and it won't take very long. So this is from the most recent issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. This is summer 2019 issue. This is by our own Teresa Vignette, Kitten Stitcher on YouTube. Her design brand is Shakespeare's Peddler. And this is a handkerchief sampler. And this one had a cool story. It was like someone just gave up like in the middle of stitching this. There's like there's one spot where she tells you to like leave a thread hanging. Like the girl was stitching away and was just like, yeah, no. Either she messed it up or she just didn't want to do it anymore or whatever. Okay, so Gift of Stitching magazine. This is issue 17, June 2007. I love this one so much. This one you can get. I know it. I saw this on 123 Stitch, I believe, the other day. This is by Sampler Cove Designs. It's the Double Dutch Sampler. So if you love this as much as I do, you can go get this easily. It calls for like 3 colors. That's it. And it's gorgeous. Also from the Gift of Stitching magazine, we have issue 53, June 2010, Tropical Quaker Sampler by WDC Design. And I actually really love this one too. And I need to stitch this. I love this. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. All right, gosh. I'm going to try to talk faster because this is getting really long and I still have a lot in here. I'm sorry. Okay, Gift of Stitching magazine, issue 20, September 2007. This is Sophie's Afternoon by Brooks Books. I am calling this a sampler because there is some ABCs up in there. And it's cute. But definitely not like what you would think of as a traditional sampler. This one is Kristen Edwards, who I don't know if she had designed under a different, something we would recognize. It's the Gift of Stitching, April 2008, issue 27, and it's the Red Lady Sampler. It's certainly not a traditional looking sampler, but it does have an alphabet down at the bottom. I think that's really cool. Kind of looks like a Kathy Barrick or a carriage house. This one I printed in black and white, but this is a just cross stitch. It's just cross stitch, August 2015. It's Annie Golding sampler, and I'll be honest, I can't remember what colors it was, and I printed it like over a year ago. I just don't remember. But it was a PDF issue. Gift of Stitching magazine, issue 36, January 2009. This is Long Dog Samplers. I love this one. Paws and Claws. It says, none but cats and dogs may quarrel in my house. Live and let live. Love it. Speaking of, Lincoln is here, but he has not come in to say hi, which is funny, because the last few times I filmed, he just wasn't here, but, you all have been asking to see him, and he ain't here right now. I mean, he's here, but he's not. Lincoln, you wanna come see me? He's sleeping. He's sleeping. This is Heartstring Samplery, The Stitching Life. This was a market release this year, so you can totally go get this. Very pretty. This is another GGR. She does really, really pretty red work. This is Catherine Thomas, 1868, and it is very pretty. Very pretty. This is Samplers and Such, a Spot of Tea 1. Apparently there's 2 or 3 of these. This is a Spot of Tea 1, and this is a red work sampler as well. Very nice. This one's fun. This is Told in a Garden. This is Amish Quilt Sampler. I actually really want to stitch this. I love this. I love the colors. And like it's got all these cool little quilts, but the colors are really, really pretty. Amish Quilt Sampler. Lincoln does not want to come say hi, you guys. He's snoozing. This is Gift of Stitching, issue 61, March 2011. This is Under the Virginian Sun. The designer is French, and I can't pronounce that. I'll be honest. I'll just zoom in. Here's the designer. Atelier de Défi Broduse. I don't even think that was even a little close to correct, like at all. But here's the chart. It's a cool chart. It's really pretty. Right? That's pretty. There's an alphabet up here. That's why it's a sampler. In case you were wondering. Here's another You and I and Friends. This is Chloe's house. I really like this one. Although that grass will be annoying and the house will be annoying, but it's really cool. Gift of Stitching magazine, issue 52, May 2010. This is With My Grandmother's Hands. No, I don't know why it's that. I don't know, but that's something else. Okay, this is Elizabeth Taylor, 1873. Elizabeth Taylor. Cool though. I like it. Gift of Stitching, issue 14, March 2007. This is a Stitcher's wallet, and I don't see the designer listed very obviously. And this is a Stitcher's wallet with some cool stuff on it. Praiseworthy Stitches. This is called Contentment. This is Gift of Stitching, issue 31, August 2008. And this is really pretty. Okay. I don't know. I'm not showing that. I don't care. I'm not showing that. That's ugly. I got a lot in here. I'm not showing you guys ugly stuff, okay? We don't have time for that. Okay, this one is legit crazy, okay? This is Gift of Stitching magazine. It was a 12-part sampler. That's how big this thing is. Part 12, the final part, came out in the August 31st issue. August 2008 issue number 31. So this was, again, over 12 issues. And it is the biggest damn sampler you ever saw. I believe this, I did, at some point, I figured out the stitch count. And it's like, yeah, 510 by 320. So if I ever want to stitch this, I'm going to have to do it 1/1. Or else it's going to be like 5 feet long. It's this big old mystery. It was a mystery sampler and it went around the world. So each part was like representing a country. It's really cool. I don't know if it's so intimidating, but it's so pretty. And I'm like, I want to do it, but oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's gorgeous. And so there's like Dutch, English, Scottish, you know, like they go around the world, Irish, French, and then each section like tells you a little bit about why, you know, that's representative of a Dutch sampler or whatever. This is Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, fall 2018. This is Teresa's Primitive Treasures Tulip House. Really cute, really simple. It's got an alphabet, so I'm calling it a sampler. This one is Willie's Quaker Square number 7. It's the Gift of Stitching magazine, issue 29, June 2008. And it's just a really pretty, simple little thread work. Really pretty. This is Blackbird Designs, Sunflower Charms. I believe this is a hard to find chart. It came out in 2005. I think it's hard to find. It's Loose Feathers, pattern number 15. Sunflower Charms. It's actually will be such a quick, it will be such a quick stitch. I just need to do it so that someone else can have this, because I'm sure there's people looking for this. I'm sure there's people who want to stitch that. This is a new chart as well. This is Lori Holt, Bee in My Bonnet. You can get this from the Fat Quarter Shop, and this is called Quilter's Cottage, but it is a sampler because it's got an alphabet on it. This one's really cool. This is Alice Schroth Sampler Recreations, the Heritage Collection, 1820 English School Sampler. It's a kit. It's naturally hand-dyed silk on linen. Let me show you what it looks like. It's really pretty colors. There's the hand-dyed silks, and someone started this, but it's all sealed up, so I really don't know if I'm curious. It might just be these like 10 stitches, or I might open it up and I don't know. It's probably just like those 10 stitches, and then they were like, yeah, I'm never gonna finish that. This is primitive needle and punch. Why can't I say that right all of a sudden? Anyway, you know, the magazine. This is Spring 2018. This is Little Houses Sampler by Joyce Reed Folk Art. This is really cute. That's real cute. Oh my gosh, okay. We're into our whips. We're almost done. I know it's been long, you guys, but we're almost there. So these are ones I've actually started. That was just my stash. My pile is like this tall. Okay. Nantucket Girls Sampler, Plum Street Samplers. Yay. This is a really big one too, but I don't think it'll take that long because it's like a lot of words and it's really spread out. But I only like got a baby start on this. I'm doing it in DMC because it calls for like NPI. But there were too many of them and that was going to be really expensive, so I'm just doing it in DMC. This is Lakeside Linen Vintage Buttercream. It's a 40 count. Here's my little start. This was a Stitch Mania start, so I only got to work on it for one day. So that's just one day of stitching. That fabric is not showing up at all. The correct color. It's a nice, beautiful gold. Gift of Stitching Magazine, issue 42, July 2009. On the Moors with Emily Bronte by the Sampler Girl. I'm calling it a sampler. I don't have much of a start to speak of. Oh, well, no. That was one day of stitching. That's all I got. Another Gift of Stitching Magazine, issue 14, March 2007, also by the Sampler Girl. This is At Home with Jane Austen. Very pretty. Not your traditional sampler, but still really cool. This is where I got to on that. These would be easy to finish. I haven't got, these were all Stitch Mania starts, so I only got to work on them like one day, and I've just never made it back to them. This is another Sampler Girl, Gift of Stitching, issue 52, May 2010. This is In the Meadow with Jane Austen, and I think this one's my favorite. It's so pretty. Like, the colors are just really pretty. And one day of stitching. Where we got. Not far. Heartstring Samplery. This is Coffee Saves Lives, the Magical Elixir Series Part 1. That is a sampler. Yes, it is. That's a beautiful sampler. Beautiful example of a sampler. It's got a border. It's got an alphabet. It's got some people. It's got some trees. And I've got a tiny little start. I think this was actually, for one day of stitching, this is a lot. Look at me. I don't want to put all this back up when I'm done. Okay, Barbara Anna, Rampant Cats sampler. Love this one. I love her people. Her people with their little top hats. I love them. This is really pretty. I just didn't get a lot done. One day of stitching. Give me a break. I want to get back to it. Christmas at Hollyberry Farm by Stacy Nash Primitives. This is a sampler, and it's got an alphabet. And I think I got one day of stitching on this one. Yeah. I think it goes like this. I know I'm not going into details on like linen and stuff. This video is getting really long, and I want to get done, and I think you guys want to get done, and I just can't go into all that, okay? This is You and I and Friends Prairie House. This is the one Lori at Mischievous Stitches has done. And I got, it was a Stitch Mania, so I only got like one day of stitching on it. I'm not even sure how to orient this, and it doesn't really matter. That's all I have. I do want to get back to all this stuff, and I know I say that in every video when I show stuff like this. I'm like, I want to work on this again. The problem is I have 40 things like that I want to work on next week, and I can't. I just can't do it all. Plum Street Samplers Jack's Bash. I love this one. And this one I actually have some more progress because it wasn't one day of stitching. I stitched on this for a good week or two. So it's not going to be so sad. Ah, it's so pretty. I have a lot done. I shouldn't say so much, but I have a lot done, but it's so pretty. Oh, look it. God, that's gorgeous. Oh, I want to get back to that one so bad. And I know I say that about everything, but I really mean it about that one. I also have a lot of progress on this one because I was going gangbusters on this one trying to get it done. And I'm actually very close to a finish on this one if I just get back to it. It's Stacy Nash Cherry Hollow Farm Sampler. It was a Nashville release. That was a kit. Came with the week's linen and the week's flosses and everything you needed. And I love this piece, and I am not that far from being done. It's little, like look, it's like a petite little sampler. So all I have to do is finish this house, do a little flower urn thing, and finish the border, and I am done. So I'm 3/4 done with this thing. I would have finished it, but like I had to do other stuff. You know how that goes. This is Plum Street Samplers, the Queen's Sampler, Elizabeth I. It's gorgeous. I love it. I'm doing this in silks. And this was one day of stitching. So yeah, not much. Not much on there. Ooh, I love this one too. This is Ink Circles Get Crackin'. I did get to stitch on this one more than one day, so I actually have some progress on this one as well. I'm doing all the called for silks. This is Picture This Plus Serene, and it's really pretty. Love it. Love it. That's where I'm at on that. Will someone please come to my house and put all this stuff away for me, please? This is Mora Blackburn, the Hope sampler. I told Jessie Marie I was going to get this out and stitch on it for her birthday because she started this for her birthday, but I never got to it. I'm sorry, Jessie Marie. I do have it and I do want to stitch it, but I did not pull it out like I said I would. This was one day of stitching. Oh, this one's fun. Blackbird Designs Feliz Navidad. That's a Christmas sampler. One day of stitching. That's all I got. There aren't enough hours in the day, you guys. There's not. Plum Street Samplers Heritage Sampler. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. What do I have done on this? A couple days work. That is 1/1. Some of it, not all of it. We're almost there, guys. Tempting Tangles. Persuasion. One day of stitching for Stitch Mania. That's all we got. Ooh, I like this one. And this one's, I don't think I'm as far as I thought I was. Pineberry Lane, Autumn on Marigold Lane. It's a nice one. Looks pretty small. But then you start stitching it and it takes a little longer than you think it's going to take. I always think like, oh, I'm almost done with this. And then I look at it and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not even close to almost done with this. I'm not sure where I decided I was so close to being finished. We're almost done with this video. I have like 4 or 5 left. Stacy Nash Primitives Blackwater Hollow Sampler. Also kind of a Halloween-y one. And I did get to work on this one, I think. Oh, pile's tipping. Pile's tipping. Oh, no. No. Stay. I got to work on this one for a few days, so I made a little dent in it. Winter Quakers by Rosewood Manor. That is a Quaker sampler. No alphabet, but a ton of motifs. I haven't worked on this in a while, but I think I got a good chunk done when I did work on it. Oh, it's so pretty. I need to get that back out. While we're at it, let's show Autumn Quakers by Rosewood Manor. Been even longer since I worked on this one. Also gorgeous and need to get it out. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. All right, Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. And I got more than a day on this, but not much more. I think it was like two, maybe 3 days stitching. So I've got some of the house done. All Souls Vierlinden by Quiltify Design on Etsy. I love this pattern. That's a black and white, but it's a solid color pattern. But I don't have a ton done. I think I worked on this for 2 days. All right, 2 more and then we're done. Heap on the Wood by Brenda Gervais. Also gonna be a fun, I got more on this one than a few days. I got to work on it for like a week or something, so I made some good progress on this one. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. I haven't looked at this in a while. This is much prettier than the picture. Like, the picture is pretty, but look at this. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Look how much I got done. I can't really see what I'm doing. I love those people. He's holding a candy cane. Yeah, I want to get that one out again. I love that one. All right, last. I saved it for last because it is not least. This is Barbara Anna Designs Snooty Parrot Sampler. What is fun about this one is I am recharting several bits of this to make it a Gilmore Girls themed sampler. Get out of town. Get out of town. I'm doing it all in silks. So pretty. This fabric is R&R Reproductions Stars Hollow Blend. You heard that right. Gilmore Girls changes I have made so far. I changed the verse to a Lorelai Gilmore quote. And I changed Adam and Eve to be Luke and Lorelai. And Luke is giving Lorelai a cup of coffee. Yep. What else am I going to change? Well, I'm leaving the parrots in because they're awesome. And I think Lorelai would like those parrots a lot. But what I am going to change is down here, and I'm still waffling. If I'm going to make this the gazebo, the Stars Hollow gazebo, might be what I do. If I make this like Rory and Logan, or I'm not a big Logan fan. Maybe Jess, maybe Rory and Jess. Definitely not Dean. And then I'm definitely gonna make these little cherubs, these little cherub angels. I'm gonna make those dragonflies for the Dragonfly Inn. I'm just still trying to decide if this is gonna be the gazebo or if I should make it like Lorelai's house. But I'm thinking gazebo. So part of why I haven't gotten this back out is because I know I need to chart that. Like, I can get this back out and do the parrots because that's what's coming up. Like, the parrots are on either side of the words. So I've got some time. I could still work on it without having to make a decision, but it's so lovely. Lisa Kindred Stitcher just finished her Snooty Parrots, which she did as charted, and it's absolutely stunning and amazing and glorious. Okay, that's all my samplers. I am like seriously like exhausted, and I have the biggest mess right now. Maybe I'm going to show you guys because I think it's funny. All right, I'm going to flip you around and show you my mess. Don't get motion sick. And then I'm signing off. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Here is my mess. Here's all my charts that I've been throwing on the floor. Yep, I gotta clean all that up. All right, see you later, guys. Bye.